In the studio, we have Ady Macauley, Esquire, flag bearer, candidates of the All People's Congress APC party. And also we'll be speaking about, his political journey. The conversation never ends. We'll continue till the elections, right? Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Ms. Terry. How are you?
Thank you. I'm fine. We've been having conversations around Kush for a very long period now. Just yesterday, Mathieu, we also had, the same discussion here. Let's take it off. You've been a political leader, but as a citizen of this country, what's your thoughts about it?
My thoughts about it is Kush has been both a medical and a criminal pandemic that is destroying the fabric of this nation. Young people are the future of this country. About 60% of the population of this country is young people. So if you have a drug that is mainly targeting people within that age bracket, then the future of this country is being targeted, and it is something which all of us must take very seriously. Ms. Terry, I am sure 3 of us sitting here today, either we have a relative, a friend, or a neighbor that we know is affected by this criminal pandemic, which has been brought about by people trafficking Kush into Sierra Leone. So all of us need to be concerned, and I am happy that the discussion so far has been very responsible, apart from when His Excellency the President wanting to throw back as usual. It started. Yeah,
I was going to mention that, but I just wanted you to lay the basis and we'll get into it.
Yes, it started, when I was in opposition, but we'll come to that. But I think all of us should put hands on deck to make sure we bring this thing to an end. Because if not, our nation is in peril.
So let's go back to that. There are allegations which says, not specifically Kush, but the old drug issue happens, way back, since when, the former president, Dr. Ady Macauley, was in power. What would you say to that?
I want to say to Sierra Leoneans, and hear me clearly and loudly, there is not a single country in this world that does not have a drug problem. We should start from there. It is the response to that drug problem that determines whether or not that country succeeds in the fight against eradicating drugs. Let me take you back to 2007. Just about a year into President Nkrumah's term, we saw a plane load of cocaine was apprehended in Lunge. And there were successful investigation and prosecutions brought about. And this is a matter of fact. Since then, have we heard of any large-scale drugs being brought to Sierra Leone all throughout the presidential term of former President Nkrumah? When he came, there were 2 things that were prevalent: drugs and 419 fraud. President Nkrumah stamped out drug and 419 fraud. Until after he left office, we saw it rearing its head up again. And let me just give you this. I'll give a plethora of examples why the President Bio, should take responsibility. He's the Chief Executive Officer of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Commander-in-Chief, the sovereign of the state. He has the supreme executive authority, so he cannot be deflating responsibility by blaming others for what is entirely something of his own making.
Did he openly make that statement? Did he openly blame the opposition?
Well, he said, let people not make election today begin. We don't start before a day. In fact, in 2 different interviews, the one he gave in 2014 and the other one, I understand, in 2017. But again, let me give you this. When President Bio took over the reins of governance in this country, we did not have a kush problem in Sierra Leone. We did not have a kush problem in Sierra Leone. And you know, it was only after 2018 that we started experiencing, and let people understand, the kush problem is not only a criminal problem, it's an economic problem, it's a social problem. So when the economy becomes really bad and difficult for people, there is high rate of unemployment. We have young people graduating from universities. 4, 5, 6 years, there is no job for them. You have young people that do not go to university, also don't have any form of skills training. There is nothing for them to do. The devil works with idle minds. Some of them engage in drugs taking because they believe it's a way of escaping their problems. So when we start talking about addressing the issue of kush, and I am appealing to President Bio, let's look at the symptoms, the reasons why kush is prevalent today. One is impunity. Impunity. And I'll give you the reasons why. Sierra Leone today is being referred to as a narco state, a state that is the hub for transshipment of illegal drugs to some other parts of the world. What have we done about it as a country? What has the government done about it as a government? Not much has been done. We have the situation of Ambassador Alimami Bangura, the former ambassador of Sierra Leone to Guinea, in a diplomatic vehicle which crossed the border from Sierra Leone into Guinea. The Guinean authorities intercepted several suitcases filled with cocaine, pure cocaine. The ambassador was apprehended, detained in Guinea for a little while. After diplomatic negotiations, he was released to Sierra Leone. And just a few days ago, I heard the police or someone in government saying, oh, the Guineans have investigated, they've absolved Ambassador Alimami Bangura of any wrongdoing. Then I want them to tell us who was held responsible. You know, there's one thing we call the inviolability of diplomatic premises and properties, meaning that the host country the host country under normal circumstances cannot interfere with the properties and residences and offices of diplomats. The reason why is because that office, that vehicle, is seen as the territory of that particular country. So the vehicle of Sierra Leone, the diplomatic vehicle that Sierra Leone embassy is using in Guinea.
Ady, is it your submission that this current drug abuse or the drug problem we have is as a result of the failed governance or societal structure of this present government?
Well, you know, as I said, I don't want to politicize the discussion of kush, but you cannot discuss the general problems of drug trafficking without bringing in the authorities, the government that is responsible. Alimami Bangura is there sitting in Cambia. If he was not guilty, would they have withdrawn him?
So do you believe this government is negligent to some extent?
Oh no, they've not done their job. They've not done their job. Take for example, if it is not Alimami Bangura, who authorized that vehicle to leave Guinea to come to Sierra Leone? And for what purpose? Did they tell us who instructed the driver to take those suitcases across from Sierra Leone to Guinea? These are questions that you don't need to be a rocket scientist to be able to ask. Then secondly, we see a situation where the Dutch government has consistently asked for the extradition of a particular individual called Joyce Laidicus. Our government says they don't know him, but we have someone they call Umar Sharif, whom we've all agreed was in Sierra Leone. I don't know if he's still in Sierra Leone. Mm-hmm. This man is found to be carrying a diplomatic passport. It does not have to take you 6 months to tell us who is responsible for issuing of that diplomatic passport. Just 2 weeks ago, the brother-in-law of Joyce Laidicus, Abdullah, was arrested in Dubai and extradited to Turkey. And he was found to be carrying a Sierra Leonean diplomatic passport. This is something that should concern not only Sierra Leoneans, but the government, because it is the government that is responsible to issue out diplomatic passports to individuals. It's not everybody that will have diplomatic passport. It's the highest honor you can have as a Sierra Leonean. You have the ordinary passport, you have the service passport, you have the diplomatic passport. It is the highest form of passport anyone can have. So if we find drug dealers carrying out activities with identities being linked to diplomatic passports, then it's a concern for us.
Proponents of President Bio or his administration will argue on the counter that, you know, he's instituted a task force and, you know, there's now the political will behind the fight. I want to know from your perspective, is this achieving the real impact or is it just a political showpiece?
I am optimistic and I like the way you put it. You said that it now has the intention. The task force was set up about a year ago. There was a state of emergency on Kush announced a year ago. That doesn't solve the problem. You can announce this investigation, that investigation. You can announce all of those things. If actions are not taken, then it counts for nothing. And action has not been taken. And the reason why sometimes you will struggle, but at the end of the day, hold the government accountable for what is happening. We have a drug law enforcement agency. We are the head of that drug law enforcement agency. Has been seen celebrating the birthday of the former immigration boss. He's still occupying his office.
Office.
The ACC took 3 high-powered vehicles from him, one with a G-Wagon. I mean, a brand new G-Wagon will not take you anywhere below $200,000. I mean, we have what we call unexplained wealth. When someone, you know, lives a life that is not commensurate to their official emolument. What has happened? Nothing has happened. The man is still occupying his office. And from his own mouth, he said they do not even have a bike, a motorcycle to operate. How can you have a whole drug law enforcement agency? They don't have a motorcycle to operate. What do you expect them to do? Why wouldn't there be flourish of, why wouldn't there be, you know, trade in Kush, consumption and abuse in Kush, when the people that are supposed to police Kush do not have the wherewithal? And I don't know whether it was this, it was on Liberty yesterday, I believe. One of their spokesperson spoke about the house at Frabe, where they said,
yeah, at Malta Street.
At not Malta Street, somewhere down Taylor Street end. You know, do you need to be a rocket scientist to know who owns a property? Just go to the Roxy building. Key in the address for that particular property. You will know the owner. Certainly you will know the owner. If you do not know the current owner, you will know the previous owner. And when you speak to that previous owner, they will tell you whom they sold that property to. I have a law enforcement background, so I know exactly what it takes. And it doesn't take much to go through these things.
One may ask or wonder, what's the opposition have been doing?
That's what I wanted to ask also.
Yeah.
Now we've labeled and laid down, we've laid it bare. What's the responsibility of the opposition or People's Congress Party in this fight?
So I am part of the opposition. I have sat in this studio 3 or 4 times talking about Kush, talking about drugs generally. I have sat in many other studios. I have tweeted about it. Other candidates that are aspiring for the flag bearership of the APC have gone around doing this. So if you ask me what the opposition is doing, This is exactly what the opposition is doing. Sitting here this morning.
Is it just about mere discussion, or actually going to those places where these addicts are, and also giving out information if there are any, you know, with regards?
So let me give you this. Joseph Kamar, we've seen Joseph Ishia Kamar, a co-aspirant for the All People's Congress flag bearership, has been all over the country sensitizing people about Kush. We've seen other aspirants doing the same thing. You know, Honorable Cheno Majuba is organizing football tournaments, discussing Kush. And again, I have been doing the same thing. And I just want to let this be known that I will be embarking also on visits to Kush affected area and beyond that. And I'm speaking directly to the police. And if the police are not going to cooperate in this, then I believe they are not serious in the fight against Kush.
Because I wanted to ask, you know, as a political leader and also someone who's vying for the flag bearer position for the All People's Congress Party, how do you intend to prioritize this?
Like I said, the breadbasket of this country depends on young people. If young people are destroyed, you are destroying the breadbasket of this country. So it's going to be high in my priority of things that I'm going to do. I am going to look at the issue of Kush beyond a criminal enterprise. It has social, economic, and security concerns. Let me give you this. Where there is drug dealing, you'll have organized and violent crimes. Gun crimes will increase. Those people trafficking Kush will fight over territory where they sell it, will fight over the route that they use to bring in the Kush. Beyond that, they will compromise our security forces. They will bribe them. They will bribe our custom officers. And one of the things that is most dangerous is when drug money comes into politics. We saw it in Colombia. We saw it in Colombia when Pablo Escobar almost sponsored the whole of the parliament during the elections. And guess what? When America requested his extradition, and according to their laws, Parliament has to vote whether or not the extradition is accepted. And guess what? He voted down the request. This is because he has hold over politicians. And I am afraid if we don't do our best, it will be the consequences here in Sierra Leone. And money laundering is also another issue. You know, when people sell drugs, this is an underground market.
Will the opposition sit and fold their hands and watch that happen?
Well, I am not sitting down folding my hands. I'm here advocating. I don't have the instrument and paraphernalia of governance and power. I cannot fire the head of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. I cannot force the prosecution of Ambassador Bangura. I cannot force the government to tell us who issued the passports to Jos Lydikas and the brother-in-law, Abdallah, that was recently extradited from Dubai to Turkey. I cannot. So the only thing the opposition can do is to shine the spotlight on the problems and proffer solutions. And that is what I am doing here. And I'm a member of the opposition.
All right, let me take you over a bit to the political journey now. You've built your reputation as a tough anti-corruption crusader. And of course, you've also criticized, as you are doing now, also critiquing, you know, governments and also issues of integrity and public service. And for many people who know you, they remember you as the ACC boss. You fought corruption, but also some remember you having some controversies during that position. And you are going up against political heavyweights within the All People's Congress Party. Realistically, do you think the party's establishment now is ready to rally behind you?
So let me give you this. I believe I am the right candidate because I represent a generation whose foundation is on integrity. A new generation of politicians is on integrity, is on vision, and on result. And I do bring to the table a proven record, track record of service to the country and the All People's Congress. That I can tell you. I have a very deep understanding of the challenges of this country and have plans to ensure that, one, we stabilize the economy, two, we bring national unity back to the country and the party, we bring unity in the party as well, but also to make sure that public trust is restored in governance. These are things we don't have. I have proven that I have what it takes to lead the All People's Congress Party to victory. And my focus will be on youth and women, because when you look at the demography in this country, we have 80% of the population is made up of women and young people. That is one. And secondly, when you look at small and medium enterprises, who are the people that are running these businesses? Mostly they are women and young people. So if you empower these two demography, then be sure that you're going to have an economy that will develop to what many Sierra Leoneans will think this is a place that we should have been a few years ago, many years ago. But you know, developing Sierra Leone is everybody's business. How do we do it? One, Sierra Leone has a very small domestic market. We cannot rely on what we buy and sell within to be able to generate sufficient revenue to look after the state and the people. So what we have to do as a government is to diversify the economy. Mm-hmm. One of the ways to diversify the economy is to invest in agriculture and industry. But you cannot succeed in this if certain things are not in place. Firstly, the rule of law. We have to ensure that property rights are protected. Many people, foreigners that want to come and invest in Sierra Leone, just don't come to Sierra Leone. They look at many things. If I have a commercial dispute, is the legal system one that can give me the justice that I require? Will the government interfere with the licenses or the rights that I have? We've seen many times that when new governments take over the governance of the state, they will terminate contracts of business people that have been issued by previous governments. What this means is that the agreement that you entered into is not worth the paper it's written on. We have SL Mining, which is now Mayampa Mines. We saw how immediately the SLPP government came into governance. I mean, attempted to terminate their licenses. They remained idle for almost 2 years without producing, went into arbitration. Government spent at least $13 million on legal fees for that particular case. Where did we end up? Agreed with them to continue their licenses in a different name. Did it help the people of this country? No. That 13 million would have built schools and hospitals. Mm-hmm. But again, mm-hmm. like I said, certain conditions have to be ready. You know, the rule of law is one. You have to have investment in infrastructure. You know, energy, roads, and President Kuma started with that. We were hoping that when President Bio took over, based on his manifesto, he would have continued with that. But all he focused on was running after the opposition, which is why he has failed woefully. Now
to the internal politics of the People's Congress Party, I have a two-part question. Firstly, do you think the APC leadership and the grassroots, because APC prides itself as a party of the grassroots people, firstly, do you think the APC leadership and the grassroots genuinely want generational change, or someone like you to helm the affairs of the All People's Congress Party going to 2028? And what would you say to those who believe that your candidacy is symbolic and not strategic, and that you are independent or too independent-minded to win over the power brokers within the APC?
Firstly, you said if the young people and the structure of the party are ready for a generational change. I want to give you this and take it to the bank. The next president of the Republic of Sierra Leone, come 2028, is going to be the candidate of the APC. It's going to be someone below the age of 50, which is I. I will tell you that. Take it to the bank. Is the party ready? We've done focus group surveys, both inside and outside of the party. Not only is the party ready for a generational change in the leadership of the country, but the country itself is ready. We've seen the same leaders for the past 20, 30 years. And you know, the only thing that is constant is change. And the change is now. And you know, a lot of people have this idea that when you talk about change, it's about removing the old and bringing in the new. That is not my definition of change. My definition of change is you work within the environment that you find yourself. We have elders in the party who have made the party attractive today. If I am coming out saying that I want to be flag bearer of the APC, it's because those elders they've worked hard to make the party attractive, to make it a viable party with the potential of forming the next government. So I have a vision of fusion, a vision where the young and old will work together to achieve the singular aim of, one, putting the party on a proper footing to win the next election on the first round, and secondly, putting the government of our party in the proper footing to make sure this nation becomes a prosperous nation. So that is the answer for the first part of your question. Mm-hmm. I cannot regard or see my candidacy as symbolic. It has been a candidacy that has shown the temerity, the audacity of hope. I have a lot of traction from the people. I don't do populist engagement. I go to meet the people. I speak to the people. Last week, I was in Waterloo and Tombo. I went to the wharf, and they told me their problems. The other day, I was in the public bus. I went to Mabela. I went to Gat Street Market. I went to Abacha. I speak to people. I know they want change. And my candidacy is not symbolic. Mm-hmm. It's a very strong candidacy. It's a viable candidacy. It's a candidacy that is poised to win the flag bearership of the APC, and it's a candidacy that is poised to present the next president of the Republic of Sierra Leone.
You've had or still having an enviable career path in the legal field. Why do you want to go into politics?
So, and that is very selfish, to think that I am fine, you know, so why should I bother? It bothers me that I am doing well, my neighbor is not doing well. It bothers me that my neighbor, when there is a power cut, has to send their mobile phone to my security to charge their mobile phone for them. It bothers me that I have to put out my hose to distribute water in my neighborhood because I have a borehole to my neighbors without them getting it from the services that the state provides. So for me, it will be selfish on my part to say just because I am comfortable, then everyone is comfortable. No. I believe leadership is about service to people. Leadership is about empathy, and leadership is about strategic thinking. So I have been of service to people. I've been Secretary General of the Sierra Leone Bar Association, as it then was, when it was well functioning. I have served in various capacities, whether in the private and public sector. And in my whole career as a lawyer, I believe 40% of the work I've done is pro bono work that people don't pay me for. So I see that I am someone that will be of service to people. And that servant leadership that is in me comes from the fact that I have empathy for people When I see people struggle, I struggle internally as well. So if you ask me, why do I leave the comfort of my very enviable profession? You know, I've been a lawyer for 22 years now. I've done well in my own way. But does that mean my neighbors have done well? No. I want to see the neighbor, the child of that neighbor, to have the same prospect in life as my child.
And you can only achieve all this as the president and not as a seasoned lawyer?
Well, when you're a lawyer, the changes you can bring are just limited. As you know, I have been on social media, on television, advocating on the rule of law, and many other things. But I want to ask you, who determines where a vehicle goes? Is it the passenger or the driver?
Okay, I'll hold you there.
It's the driver. So I want to be the driver of this vehicle.
Okay.
Two-part question again. Now, do you think Sierra Leonean or the Sierra Leone political culture is ready for a leader like you? You know, someone who says, I'm the new player, I'm the clean player, puts me in and see. And then the risk of you being swallowed by the system. You'd have all these beautiful plans, this dream, and then when you come, you know, we always say the system is designed, you know, to hold you back. That's the first question. And then if you are to have power today, what's one bold decision you would make within the first 100 days to show that you mean business?
Firstly, leaders are held back because they agree to be held back. That is definite. You know, leadership comes from the top and trickles down to the bottom. It is incumbent on you as the leader to change the attitudes and thinking of the people that surround you. It starts with choosing the right type of people you are going to appoint in various, you know, positions, ministries, departments, and agencies of government. It is not as easy as a lot of people would think, that you come in with a magic word, you change things overnight. Let us don't make that mistake. The problems have been piling up, mounting up for a very long time. They cannot be fixed in a day. But the signs of you being able to fix the problems of the country can be gleaned, let me say, in your first 1 year. We see what is happening in Burkina Faso. Wonderful things have not happened, but there are signs that wonderful things will happen because of certain policy initiatives. So I will tell you that the political establishment of Sierra Leone is completely different from the people it governs and serve. For me, I'm a servant leader. My focus is on the welfare of the people I serve. You know, when we talk about development, people usually think it is about the prosperity of the few. No, it isn't. Development is about opportunities for all, which is why my slogan in my campaign is building bridges, which we need in the country. As you know, we are completely divided right in the middle, and creating opportunities for all. I want each and every Sierra Leonean to be able to reach their potential in whatever they are doing without reference to where they come from, without reference to their religion, the family, or their friends.
And how will you achieve all those within 100 days if elected?
I did not say I'm going to achieve that in 100 days. I have just told you that the problems that we have now are problems that you cannot solve automatically. These are problems that are been building up over time. And you need time to solve the problems. But in your first 1 year, people will be able to know whether you're serious enough. One, the type of people you appoint. Augustine Mara, the president of the Lawyer Society, said he voted for Madabio, but he lost hope immediately he saw the list of his appointees. It is that serious. So for me, I will make sure that I cut across party lines. I will give each and every Sierra Leonean the opportunity to serve and to contribute to national development. This is what has held us back. You know, I am an expert in anti-corruption. I have a master's in anti-corruption. We have a serious anti-corruption issue. I do consultancies for private companies, putting together integrity systems for them. I've never been invited by anyone to help out the government in its work in the fight against corruption. So for me, allowing everyone in the country to take part in national development is one of the ways that you can develop the country. President Bio said when he was at 98.1, when he was asked, you know, there has been a lot of controversies because of the layoffs in many offices. What he said was, well, I'm not going to work with you are not savvy. You knowing someone does not mean that person is qualified. That's why we have a lot of square pegs in round hole today in the government of President Bio. That's why lots of things are going wrong. I mean, you have a drug law enforcement agency, TOCO and the police, cannot tell you who owns a house 6 months going down the line. They cannot tell you who owns that house, a beautiful house. They cannot tell you. That is, you know, a manifestation of gross incompetence at the very top of the policing and law enforcement in this country.
All right. As we close now, finally, this is your camera. What's your honest message to Sierra Leoneans?
My honest message to Sierra Leone is one thing that we have as a country and we hold up to is hope. But that hope is not magic. That hope is about identifying a leader that can bring national development to the country, a leader that can unite the country, a leader that can bring purpose to each and every Sierra Leonean's life. It's not just a leader that is interested in making the privileged few richer, but a leader that looks down at the bottom, a leader that looks at the ordinary man and say, if I can be president today, your child can be president today. I will give you the opportunity for your child to be president, to be whatever they want to be. You know, achievement in life is about what you have inside you. And that is what I want to give to Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Yeah,
Ady, you've given out your message to Sierra Leoneans, but also I may want to ask quickly as we wrap up. So, are you agreeing to power sharing?
No, I am totally opposed to legislated power sharing. Legislated power sharing.
Okay. You can go ahead, please.
Yeah.
So
he's in sort of opposition.
These are the reasons. One, when it is legislated, it kind of strangulates the powers of the president. Because when you look at our constitution, the president has enormous powers in terms of hiring and firing. So if you say you want to legislate power sharing where you know, cabinet positions are going to be filled by the outcome of the elections. If you have 40% in the presidential elections, your party carries 40% of the cabinet position. Who hires and fires the people? If you are the president, you have your agenda, right? And the opposition members of the cabinet are not going with or are not in line with the agenda you've set. What happens? But again, we've seen in other countries, like President Bill Clinton, his defense secretary was William Cohen. He was a Republican. The same thing with President Obama. His defense secretary was a Republican. His FBI director, James Comey, was a Republican. He contributed $1,000 towards McCain's campaign against Obama. But when he came into office, he appointed him as head of the FBI. So you don't need laws or constitution. It means that had it not been for those laws, you are not open to power sharing. Let us grow up in politics in this country. Let me see Mr. Ady to say, oh, Mr. Ady is party X, but she has what it takes to man a particular ministry, department or agency of government where, you know, she will do well for the betterment of everyone, for the success of my government. So I am totally opposed to legislated power sharing, but I am not opposed to a power sharing where you sit down, you encourage dialogue within the political environment in the country where you say, you know what, this country now we all get it. And let me tell you one thing. When you bring in the opposition into governance, there are very few excuses to cause you problems or trouble.
Quickly, let me ask the question that we are afraid of asking. The issue of power sharing now, are we discussing this because man and the afraid say if they're lost, they would want to retain some seats or some positions? Or is it a genuine concern that we actually need power sharing?
I don't think it's a genuine concern. I think it's an obfuscation. I mean, President Biya is just trying to divert people's attention to the things that people should be paying attention to. The hardship in the country. There are people that cannot put meal on the table for a day. These are the issues we are talking about. There is no electricity in the country. I mean, you know, there was electricity last night where I live in Aberdeen. Within a few hours, it was gone. You know, when you wake up in the morning, when people want to go to work, from Waterloo, you see people being stranded just to commute, to come to work. These are the real issues we should be talking about. The issues that affect the everyday lives of people. It's not about the issues that will just benefit a few. Power sharing. This is all people are interested in. Like I said, development is not about the privilege of the few. It's about opportunities for all. And that is what my vision is about. Creating opportunities for all and building bridges.
Thank you so much, Ady. It's always a pleasure having you here. I mean, unfortunately, as time may have it, we couldn't extend, you know, the conversation, but in subsequent programs, we'll definitely have you to, you know, discuss more about this.